Kadeem, come back to you then very quickly on the kind of pick situation. So we've got 5 picks in the first 81 picks, and then we've got 3 in the subsequent however many there. And do you think there's going to be more opportunity to kind of trade back and pick up some further guys in the later rounds here? I mean, like, it feels to me like we're going to want to take a few depth pieces in the 4th, 5th, 6th round, and we've only got like 1 pick across those 3 rounds specifically at the moment. So maybe some more shifting around in the first few picks to pick up some more later on.
Well, yeah, I think the choice to move back up to 6 was done on purpose because, just say the Jets do go Penei Sewell and 2 overall, and then all of a sudden the 49ers are like, hold on, we've now got Zach Wilson, so they can take Zach Wilson, and for whatever reason, both the Bengals and Falcons want to stay where they are. Miami's phone is going to start ringing again. Teams are going to be like, well, hold on, Justin Fields is still there. Apparently, had a great pro day today. Matt Jones is still there. Apparently, had an okay pro day today. But Miami have the potential to move back to either Detroit, Carolina, Denver, and then that's how you get maybe another 2nd, a 3rd, a 4th, and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't think Miami are done trading back. I do think a lot of people are kind of saying how having all these picks are great, but you need to use them at some point. At some point, you've got to stop trading back and tell Roger Goodell who you're picking. But until Miami have a Super Bowl winning team, trade back, get more picks, because it means there's still holes on the team. And I also think, to what Lee said, no one knew that these trades were coming. They were, in secret for weeks. But I think it goes back to what we saw last year with this front office as well, and our trade, not being trade, our draft deals and our free agency. I remember the build up to the draft was Justin Herbert at 5, Josh Jones at 18, and DeAndre Swift at 26. That was like what everyone was saying Miami were going to do, because that's all they had heard. None of that panned out, none of it at all. And this offseason, it was, okay, Kenny Golladay and Aaron Jones and Chris Carson. Again, none of that panned out. So whatever Miami have planned over the next few weeks, we aren't going to know about it until, Schefter and Rappaport tweet it out. So it's just so much fun seeing what this team are doing. And yeah, I still think that there's another trade, be it, on draft night or a bit before.
All right.
Is there a case, do you think, guys, of having too many first-round picks in the next few years? Ultimately, it's going to improve the talent of the roster, but looking way down the line, if these picks pan out, they're all going to want to get paid. So are they going to struggle to accommodate contract extensions for all of these guys, do you think, down the line?
For me, I think if you've got too many guys that want to be paid, that's not a terrible thing. And also, you can lose them and recoup comp picks. You get into the New England model of letting guys walk. If you sign one and let one walk, you're going to offset the money paid by the comp pick that you've brought in and the guy drafted. So, again, I think it just gives you possibilities. I think don't be surprised if you see some, if things pan out and they hit on, say, 50% of them, if they have to pay, don't be surprised if you see them traded in the 4th year of the contract, where they can get something back with no risk. It's not going to be fun because it means we're going to lose players that we want to keep as fans. But hey, that's the way it goes. They've clearly got the model they want. I think if you assume tentatively that if you're doing really well, half your draft picks are going to pan out, I'd certainly rather have half of my first-round draft picks work out each year and have 2 in each round and hope that one works out every year than one every other year for the next 5 years. So, but I get what you're saying. Just as a slight aside, going back to what you were just saying, I think the other real trade candidate that no one seems to be talking about is, what if Detroit really want Kyle Pitts? Dan Campbell's a former tight ends coach. What if he wants the best tight end in the draft? I just put out there, I've not really heard anyone mention it or seen it on Twitter. I just wonder if that's an interesting spot where it's not necessarily driven by the quarterbacks who go.
The owner will probably remind them of Eric Ebron, and then they'll stay exactly where they are. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I think they might even be more likely to come up for their preferred wide receiver, especially if Chase goes. And I mean, obviously, if we want to take Devonta Smith, then we can take Devonta Smith. But if they feel strongly about that, and we're not, and we're happy with Waddle, then why would we not shift around there, sort of thing as well? So yeah, I think that might be slightly more likely. But we'll get on to Pitts in a minute, actually, because we'll talk about what we want to do at 6. But yeah, it's an interesting conversation, isn't it? And it's really enraging some people. I've seen kind of different tweets, and we'll move on to that in a sec. But yeah, I just want to finally kind of touch in the kind of pick situation as to whether, we're talking about that kind of 50% of first rounds if they hit. That's great. I mean, I did a look through the other day using a couple of bits of research and bits and pieces that I've seen, and once you get into the 5th year of after someone's been drafted, I think when you get outside of the first round, it drops down to below something like 16% chance of staying on the roster. So that's quite incredible. That kind of talent, obviously not the talent drive, but that likelihood of keeping your player on the team. If it's a first round pick, I think it was around 41%. But after that, it was 16% that stays on the roster. So the more first round picks we've got, that kind of, it feels like there's more chance that they're going to stick around, they're going to be valued a bit more, and you kind of sacrifice those guys that you've drafted later on, sort of thing. So that's a quick, interesting point there, which I think was done by a Broncos fan site. I've forgotten the name, Mile High something or other. Credit to them, but that's really interesting bit of research there. Go on, Lee. Go on.
Sorry, I just whilst we're at this time of year, I think it's really interesting that all of a sudden you see some real interesting narratives get pushed at this time of year. It's funny how a lot of the Tua sort of slander from the media has stopped because the Dolphins are no longer picking in a quarterback position in the draft because it's just creating interest around the draft. Do you know what I mean? I don't even necessarily think it's about Tua. It's about the Dolphins are there and they're boring because they're not interested in a quarterback. And let's be honest, the draft is predicated on the quarterbacks that are going. A few months ago, Trevor Lawrence was the only guy worth taking in the top 10. And now all of a sudden, there's at least 5 guys that are generational. You cannot miss on this guy. I mean, we can sit here now and they said exactly the same thing about Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston, how that pan out. Jared Goff, Carson Wentz. Even if you want to go back, everyone wants to compare everyone to Andrew Luck and how great Andrew Luck was. Yes, he was. Didn't get you to a Super Bowl, though, did it? So how much is it worth? I would be interested to really throw the cat amongst the pigeons if the Jaguars phoned the Jets and said, "You want Trevor Lawrence? Come get him," because he's going to miss. He's going to miss all of OTAs. He's not going to be ready till training camp with shoulder surgery, and our head coach is going to get the quarterback he had in college. So you give us all the ransom we want. Do you know what I mean? People will say, "Oh no, you can't do that because it's Trevor Lawrence. It's generational." Guarantees you absolutely nothing.
Yeah, I mean that would absolutely rock the NFL to the core, wouldn't it? That
exactly. It won't happen because no one's got the balls to do it. But I would certainly be interested to see how much I could get out of the Jets to make a move up one pick. You lost him in the first place by winning too many games. Now, how much are you willing to give us to come get him? Because all it guarantees you is you're going to have a lot of media attention for the first 2 years, but that could go either way. We've seen it too often.
Hell of a player, though. Hell of a player. And if it meant that the Jets had him, it would be absolutely devastating that he'd be playing him twice a season. But there we go.